Never mind all this. Anyway, whatever. So, dang, I didn't know this was gonna be live. I thought this was gonna be a recorded video. Well, I'll save it because anyway, I got on here to talk about something um, sexual abuse. Look at this. Well, hey y'all, I am BBS Hair, and I'm on here talking about sexual abuse. Why I'm on here talking about sexual abuse? Because first, let me get this out the way. Sometimes I am compelled to talk about things, and um, no, I can't. Yeah, I'm compelled to talk about things for whatever reason. I'm really not into. I have been a person in my life. Let me say this before I get into the sexual abuse story. Let's see if I can make this quick. I have been a person in my life where people call me, though my life is far from perfect. Maybe it's the way it looked possibly from the outside, but I have been known to like just get phone calls and draw people that have lots of problems, which I had lots of problems myself. But so with that experience, like having people calling you all the time, telling you their problems and issues that they having, I experienced that a lot. And as I've gotten older and experiencing my own issues, I care less to do that because I feel like in a lot of ways that has taken away from my own life with my own children and doing things that I know that I should be doing. Like I feel like it took from me a lot. But at the same time, maybe that was a poor choice of words, but at the same time, it showed me something about myself, like an ability of myself. And the thing is, abuse. Why, when it's a subject that's so touchy, why is it so hard to have subjects that are so touchy without like your emotions always cutting in while you're trying to speak? I really want to get better at that so that I could get the conversation out. But maybe that's the part that identifies with people, that part that tugs at you. But that's the part that stops you from talking and getting out what you want to say a lot of times. So, in a reasonable amount of time, I guess, if you looking at time. But yeah, when things are important, um, I can be very lengthy because time becomes of no concern to me. So, just talking to people about abuse, thinking about abuse, like from a relationship standpoint, and then just childhood abuse. So let me start with myself. Something that I never said. I think I may have told this to one person. It was just like maybe recent, some years ago, because honestly, I have forgotten. So, abuse. I remember this time, this thing here. I remember I used to go with when you talk about other people, but she's deceased now, and I would have asked her permission. So she's not here for me to ask her permission, but it's something that her and I talked about a lot, so I'm going to talk about it. So I have a cousin who is deceased now, but I remember going with her over to a male's house in our neighborhood, and I live in St. Louis, Missouri. And I remember this one specific thing, but it's crazy what jog. I don't know. My memory got jogged one day. I remember I would wait in the living room, I think, and watch television. I just remember sitting on his couch, like I have the visual of his living room still in my head, and I would um go over there with her while she washed his dishes and cleaned up and everything. So, I guess they used to be a thing back in the day where you go over older men house or older people house. I don't know, and wash dishes or whatever. Um, I know when I was a young girl, I was a babysitter. But anyway, she would go over there and wash dishes, and I would go with her sometimes because like she was a teenager and I was like a little bitty girl, but like I felt like almost there was at some point, you know how you just have cousins that become your favorite if you got multiple ones at different times, like this particular one is your favorite. And I think like the only little cousin present and a girl, so she used to take me literally everywhere she go. Like all her friends, I used to go over there with them and play with their siblings or nephews or whatever. But she used to take me everywhere she go all the time. So anyway, and then that's how I realized too. Like older people always knew me, and then like people would know me, and I wouldn't even know them, but they remember me as a little girl just around town with like older family members that were teenagers. So I remember this one particular day. I was over there with her, and she was cleaning up and washing dishes, and I don't know where she went outside to the trash. I don't know. I do know this. She When we would get there, I would wait in the living room. She would go somewhere, and I would not see her until we left. Sometimes, um, she would be in the kitchen because I would go maybe ask her something, and then I'm actually remembering now. I would go peek like around, and I remember. So this is the thing. One day, I remember being in the living room, and this is the thing about being a child, and then um, child molesters, people that sexually abuse children. I remember him coming in the living room, and he really did say, "Let's play a game." So I'm thinking, like, okay. He told me to lay down. And this was what I remember him pushing the table over. Like, he had his couch, he had two couches, and they was like, met like literally like one like this and this one is like this. Well, y'all can't see that, but it was a couch along this wall and a couch along that wall. And I remember I was sitting on the biggest couch and he was sitting on the little couch and he was talking to me, but I can't remember the conversation. I just remember him saying, "Do I want to play a game?" So I remember thinking like, okay. And he pushed the table over, and I remember him telling me to lay down. And I remember laying down, and my body was like straight as a board. Um, and I remember laying there, and I remember thinking, because he kept trying to position my body, and then he kept moving my legs, and I kept putting my leg back down. He kept bending my leg. That's what it was. And I kept straightening my leg back out. This is the thing. Because when you're a child, I'm thinking, so innocent. Children minds are so innocent. I remember thinking, what type of game is this? Like straight up, like what type of game? Because in your mind, you don't expect an adult to be doing something they shouldn't be doing. Because you are taught to respect them, to listen to them, and do what they say. That's why I always kind of curve my words when I say, even when like my children or my grandson is misbehaving, and I say, "Hey, do what I say, okay? Listen to me." I always switch it. Listen to adults. I always say, and have to backtrack. Because every adult is not some of these motherfuckers perverts. Because I don't have a better choice of words. So, and I remember laying there straight as a board, and I kept straightening my leg out when he bent it. Because I'm like the game wasn't feeling like right. Like, what is this? And I can't remember what he was saying. I just remember being straight as a board. And I remember him moving my legs, trying to move my legs, and I kept straightening them back out. And then I remember my cousin coming in there and him and her having an argument, but I never knew what that was. Like I never knew what game. Isn't that something? Like I never knew that this man was gonna that this man was gonna try to molest me because he had been molesting her. I never knew that he was about to try to molest me. I used to dig worms with him outside, and I think that was too the nature of Her and my mother fell out and like fell out forever. I'm talking about sexual abuse and warning signs. And I remember it's crazy, like me and her always been friends. I was a little girl and me and her was like real tight and cool. Even when and we both the same sign. We both are Libras. And me and her was cool. Like I was a little girl and she was like way older than me. Like, I don't know, she might have been like 15. And I was probably like shit, I don't know, what, 7, 6, I don't even know. I just know I was a little bitty girl. Um, may not even been in school yet. I just remember being little and I used to dig worms with him. And I remember my mother used to have conversations with me all the time. Oh my bad, y'all. About if somebody touched you. And she was always aggressive with her conversations, like, about the fur part and not being afraid and to speak up as a child. And I'm thinking too that could be where a lot of guilt comes from, because some children don't speak up, and I think they in turn start to feel guilty about that. And why I feel like I have a little knowledge, though, shit, I can't never recall nobody actually successful, because that's crazy. I remembered that later in life that hit me. That's why I think I was not even in school. I couldn't have been in school yet. Like, I didn't even know what that was. And I just remember my mama saying, I don't know, I think I remember my mama cursing him out. I don't know if my cousin came and told her what happened. And my mama was, I remember a series of things. My mama was arguing with her about something. And that's her sister's well, her sister's daughter. Um, and they just never was the same. Like, my mama never talked to her again. Um, I don't know if my mama hold grudges or what. I know I love my mama. Like, she's a real cool person because she used to always have real talk with me. And right now to this day, I'm a person that respect real talk rather than fake talk. Like, parents lying to you about shit that ain't real. My mother was not like that. She gonna tell you what's real. She not gonna make up stories according to their pagan gods and the stuff that they taught us to do, and that we as a people started doing. She wasn't that type of woman. She not gonna do that. She gonna give you the real, and everybody gonna talk about her and say what they want to say behind her back. At the end of the day, you gonna know the truth. And I really, really love and appreciate her for that. I really, really do. And so I remember like a series of things. Her and her falling out. They not never talking again. I remember the weirdo pervert. I remember he used to dig worms for to go fishing, and I would help him. And my mama was like upset, like, "No, don't ever help. Let him dig his own worms. Don't come over here." And excuse me, y'all. So my mother was like, basically, don't help him dig no worms. And I think she cursed him out, called him all type of, I don't know, motherfuckers. I don't know. I just know that's kind of how she moved. Because when you're a child, you catching bits and pieces of things. So I'm gonna tell this part too. Okay, so when my mother ended up dying, I'm gonna jump back into that story of her, my cousin. When my mother ended up dying, um, I was around. I may have just turned 12, something like that. And I remember, um, I could see how it's so easy to blame yourself. I remember how I'm gonna say this. I remember um one of the men that lived in the house used to call from work and ask to speak to me, like a part of their family. And he used to ask to speak to me. And so let's just say I'm gonna say my cousin used to put me on the phone. And then he would be always up on, and he'd be like, "Hey, why he always calling you from work?" He's like, "Let me hear what he's saying. Let me put my ear to the phone too." So we both holding the phone like this together, and he listening to what he's saying. But he would. It's how. they bait you in. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling this for a reason. So he will always like playfully like, hey, what's up, VLV? You know, drag my name out. That's my actual name. Um, and I would be like, because of the things that my mama taught me aggressively, that's like how as I got older I would respond to men when it was clear to me that a man was being inappropriate with me. That's how I would respond, because I didn't want to appear weak to them, because I think when you appear weak to them they take advantage of you. And I also think that's why some children, young people, really blame themselves, because they feel like, oh, I was weak. I could have, like, they didn't let their voice be projected. They never said no. And so they make it their fault when really it's that person's fault, because you're a child and you should never have to be in the position where somebody is sexually trying to have a sexual experience with you with a sick ass. But um, I remember as I got older, like, and I was not no girl that had no breasts and no butt, like, to show. I don't know why grown men used to be trying to talk to me. Um, I remember I had one grown man used to try to talk to me all the time. Like, it was ridiculous. I remember it ended up turning into like a fight. Like, I ended up getting into it with a guy down the street, and it being like a family fight or something, because this this grown man used to have a boy my age come. He used to try to talk to me so bad, have a guy might try to give me money. He had him come and throw rocks at my window and one day bust my window. I was like, no, I'm about to get in trouble for this. I remember saying, why you bust this window or whatever. He told me he's standing back at the corner. So in some ways, I used to feel like I probably am a burden as a child, like, because then I'm gonna just say my uncle, he had to go and talk to this grown man's uncle, because this grown man lived with his uncle or something like that. Because this grown man was like straight harassing me, like would not stop. Even after that, he was like, I'm gonna have to go talk to this uncle, because I was like, oh no, I'm not taking the blame for this busted window. This will be the second window busted by me. Supposedly the first one my fault, the second one no. So that happened. The one calling me every day that lived there, Velvy, and then trying to figure out where he going with this. When he called every day, he'll be like, and then he started giving me tasks to do, little things to do, like his buddy and his road dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, can you go to the corner store and get me like cookies and snacks and stuff, and I'll get you something or whatever. So, as a child, you like, shit, yeah, you want some snacks. So we would go to the store, but it started a discussion. Me and my cousin would talk about it. He'd be like, hey, dude, is weird. He'll be like, because that's how he talk about people. That he like, dude, is weird. He's like, he always calling you like what he want. And I remember he used to do that with my sister, and my sister was like, what? And I heard him say girlfriend, and then he started saying, where my girlfriend at? Playing like he every time. What I'm saying is, he would escalate the conversation. Every time he would continue to escalate the conversation and make the conversation more than like a little bit more. He would go a little further every time with the conversation. So then when I became girlfriend, I'm like, girlfriend, like, calling me every day from work on your lunch break. Like, why are you calling a child every day from work on your lunch break, talking to a child like 13 years old? Like, it's sick. So me and my cousin was like, yeah, this ain't right. He's like, that dude a pervert. He was like, he calling you girlfriend. That's for one, that's weird. Like, he calling you girlfriend, and he doing the milk and cookie stuff, and no lie, like he. So I ended up, before he catch me, because I remember I used to have to go in the basement where he lived at, and he used to always try to get you over to the dark side where he was at. And I won't tell nobody else business, but I will never ever forget this moment right here. One day, it was a lot of little children lived there. They're all family. They're all blood. One day, my cousin said, "Hey, Devin, come here." He was like, "Hey, go in the basement. I just saw such and such run in the basement, but she something." So he said, "Go see if she ran in the basement." So he said, "But I just reached yelled at the top of the steps, and he said she ain't down there." This is perverse dude. And so he was talking to me on the side. He's like, "Man, I'm sure I saw her run down there, but I don't know if she ran outside real quick." He was like, "I done went and checked all outside with the other kids, all her cousins, all the cousins." And he was like, "Go check and see if she down there." And I remember I never was like afraid of him. And I remember going down the steps. No, first I stood at the top of the steps and I was calling her name. And then you know how you saw him down. I know I had saw him get off work and go down there. And so when I saw him go down there or whatever, okay, that was distracting me. When I saw him go down there, I'm like, we both like conversing over what we know. Like I know, I'm like, I ain't seen her, but I know I saw him go down there. And he was like, "Go down there." And he was whispering, "Go down there and see if he down there." So I'm creepily going down there because he got it real dark. He turned off all the lights. So I know I'm recording something. I'm recording something. I ain't trying to be. I hate when people interrupt. But anyway, um, not to be rude either, but like it's gonna throw me off. So anyway, he could whatever he gotta say, he can say it to me later. 'Cause I want to get this out. I'm talking about sexual abuse, and yeah. So we kind of going over like, and my cousin not feeling good because he like, "No, I saw her go down there." And he was like, "And I'm calling, and he ain't saying nothing, and you saying you know for sure he down there." I'm like, "Yeah, I just saw him go down there." And he was like, "And I saw her run down there." And she was, how little children playing hide and go seek. So he forcing me basically, cause he like, "No, go down there, Devin. Go down there for me." So I go to the like halfway steps when he wasn't saying nothing. So then when I make it halfway down the steps, then I go down the other half of the steps. As I go down the other half of the steps, he pop out. No, he didn't pop right out. I go to his. It's dark, so I'm kind of scared. I'm looking for the light. That's when I start feeling afraid, because it was pitch black. No, I didn't feel really afraid until I just felt a little uneasy. Like, the fuck is so dark down here for? Like I wasn't putting two and two together. Basically, what I'm telling you. I'm like, "Damn, why it's so dark?" And I know I saw him come down here. And he always had his TV on, watching TV, watching. He liked to watch stuff like I like to watch stuff like that too, because he didn't ask me that I want to watch it with him. I'm like, no, the Three Stooges and stuff like that, because I used to watch that. He would always be watching it, and I just remember that he used to always watch the Three Stooges and stuff like that. Shit that children want to watch. So the TV went on, nothing went on. So I started going towards his room. And when I got, so now I'm like damn near in his room. I'm looking at his bed. I'm looking like damn. And then I go look in the other part of the basement. Cause I'm like, where he at? Like, I know this motherfucker ain't in this back part because nobody goes back there. It's like pitch black and it wasn't renovated or nothing. So I'm like, nobody ever goes back there. Like, it really is not a reason to go back there. It's no lights back there. So once I checked the whole basement, my cousin kind of creeping down the first part of the steps. He's younger than me, by the way. He's a younger boy, but he had an maybe not was yeah men. I guess they have some form of intuition. He felt something, and he was like creeping down the steps a little bit burly, but he was like on second, third step. He's just a little boy, but he knew someone right. And I'm all the way down the basement, so I'm like damn near going in his room now. Soon as I start stepping foot in his room, he popped out that darkest part. And he's like, "Baby, what you want?" And he scared me. Cause I was like, and I hurry up and back out to like where at least a little light shining, and I got closer to the steps because like I really was scared. Like I was like thinking like, okay, he is beyond weird. Like I wouldn't want him. Like I don't know how aggressive people get with that. Like if he would try to grab me and do something to me, because he had got mad. I don't know if I had told on him yet. No, I don't think I had told on him yet. Um, so when I'm bagging back, I was so scared. I bagged all the way back to the steps. I'm literally kind of walking backwards up the steps, and he like, yeah, what you want? I'm like, kind of confused. Like, I'm like, you ain't hear us calling? You didn't like hear him calling and then me calling? And I was like, I knew I saw you come down here or whatever. And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, but before I think he answered, before I could be like, what you doing in the dark black court? Nobody going. Like, why you back there? And he was like talking and he was weird looking in the face. And I remember hurry up rushing up the steps because I was scared and I was talking to him from the top. And he's like, what you wanted? And I was like, I thought I saw you go down there. And then I was like, we thought we saw, and I think I said, we thought we saw her go down here. And he said, nah, she ain't down here. So then we went and told, like, we can't find her, blah, 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 blah. We looking outside because we babysitting the smaller children. Um, we looking outside, we looking. So my cousin telling me like, no, I saw her. He was like, Velvet, I'm not tripping. He the only one in the house do his homework and listen. I ain't trying to be funny. Me, I'm always trying to run outside, play with the boys, fast but not fast. You know what I'm saying? Fast, just liking boys. You know what I'm saying? I just love the energy of males, and still do to this day. A little bit, I feel like could be too much. Like I love the energy of males. It's like so much different than what I get from. Don't get me wrong. I love my sisters. I love women, but it's just such a different energy. Like I find myself always have enjoyed it more for some reason. Like it's the opposite of me. Like I always enjoyed it more. So he like, nah, he pulling me. He like, Devin, I saw her go down there. I'm telling you, or whatever. So we trying to watch. We been told we don't know where she at. I think when they found her, she was outside playing. But yeah, he touched children. And then I ended up telling on him because I was like, I don't feel comfortable. But my cousin was a help convincing. He was like, nah, that dude weird. He gotta go. He was like, he too weird. He gotta go. He was like, you should tell on him. He was like, for the fact, like, he taking it too far. He calling you girlfriend. He had called my little sister girlfriend. And I'm like, so I remember getting on the phone, like, why are you calling us girlfriend? Nobody here is your girlfriend. And then after that, I remember my cousin come telling me, he said he don't like you. And when you be washing the dishes, he turning up the, I guess you call it a thermostat on the hot water. I wonder why when I turn the hot water on, I'm talking about it's scalding hot, like burn you or whatever. Weird ass pervert. Then I saw him, he got put out. And then I saw him years later. Like when I would see him still or whatever, because like, you know, the family ties over there. And then people like them, your peoples, I'm like that weird ass pervert touching children ain't none of my people. Um, so yeah, basically I'm just saying like I think we need a better approach when talking to children. Am I trying to be an expert? Because I know it's people so judgmental. I'm not saying I'm no fucking expert. What I'm saying is we need a really great approach um, when it comes to discussing sexuality with children. And I even learned from just court cases that we do need to stop using words. Well, this back in the day court cases, so we do need to stop using words like whatever this what we GGJJs, whatever we be calling vaginas. And I don't like to talk like this. Dick and pussy. I hate those two words. Um, vagina, penis. We need to definitely teach our children the correct terms for these body parts, terms that will be used in court, and find another way to explain sexual abuse, to our children, because for some reason nobody is comfortable with that. Like, sexual abuse, when it happens, it is totally, it's very disruptive to um to people. And like I said, I've never been like sexually abused where somebody had sexual as a child, where somebody had sexual intercourse with me. But growing up in foster care, and then listening to my cousin talk to me for years about sexual abuse and her experiences and how it affected her sexual life, we have got to come up with something really hardcore to talk to children and to practice more. I don't know. I feel like, now I cannot be right. Like, don't quote me on this, but the aggression. Because what I feel like, I gave them examples of myself, because how I feel like me being more aggressive may have kept me from being molested, because it tried, like, it almost could have happened multiple times. Like, even in that time, like, he probably is an aggressive pedophile. And probably, even though, like, I'm one, like, for some reason, when you're a child, you fish in your mind, like, is this person just being nice to me, or is this weird? We need to come up with something to let children know, like, nah, period. If it's looking weird, sounding weird, it's weird. And I don't mean a good weird. I mean a fucked up weird. This motherfucker ain't sane. His sanity, he's not clear at all. He don't know the difference between a woman, a man, a child, a boy, a girl. And he know the difference, but he care not, because he got a sick desire from wherever it came from. And so I remember having a couple more times throughout my life where, I'll just say it like this: a older male family member, best friend, used to always, like, he would, it made me uncomfortable. Like, when I would come outside, and I remember hating this part of it. I remember I would come outside, maybe with something to say, telephone, something. And I don't even know if they knew why he stopped coming around. Because I don't even know if I said it. I don't even know if I ever mentioned this to them. Like, I always called them my cousins. I don't know if I ever mentioned this to them, like, why he stopped coming around, when they was like, oh, what's the name, don't come around no more, I wonder what happened to him. Well, maybe they may see this. The reason I was told he stopped coming around is because I would come outside and he would, like, just like stir me down. Like, you know how, like, a man, now that I'm a woman, how a man, like, look at a woman when he interested, maybe, like, you may, stir a little longer or something, you know what I'm saying? Eye contact, show your interest. He would do that to me. And I would just, like, look back, like, and I remember I would always look back, and he would go out of his way to say something to me all the time. And I would always kind of reply with an attitude. That show you how some perverts, they don't, they still, they so lost in their lust. They don't even care. Because I know I used to get an attitude with this man. And he still would say little stuff to me. And then I remember one day I came outside for something, and on my way walking back, he would step away from them and come where they couldn't see him. And he was like, he had said, hey, you got some pretty legs. And I remember looking at him like, I got some pretty legs. Like, and I will always go back to my mother's conversation, because when she talked to me about molesters, she was very aggressive. There was a tag, like, some that she was. It was always an intense, aggressive conversation. I don't know if something happened to her before, but it would always be intense and with aggression. And that's how she would teach me to have that type of response. Like, no, don't be timid about it. If a man is doing or saying something inappropriate, she would talk to me in a way like, no, don't be timid, because perverts see that as a weakness. And even though you a child, and oh man, y'all, I'm gonna say it again. I think a lot of people that get molested, I could be wrong. A lot of people that get molested, they have a hard time with that. I want to have better words for that. That weakness, and you don't give yourself the excuse of being a child, but you feel like so violated and so helpless. But I think the point that my mother would make to me is that you are not helpless. Like, at least attempt to use your voice and the power of your voice. Your voice is very powerful. And so I will make sure, but then that showed me too that some of these people got these spirits so tough on them that you could even reply aggression. That lust, that pedophilia, lust in them are still being pursued of you. That's that spirit, that nasty spirit. And I remember he said I had some nice legs. And I was like, and the way he said it, I remember the way he said it, I knew it wasn't right. And he stepped away from them. I paid attention to everything because I was getting ready to go in the door. He kind of like low key called my name. And then when I turned around, he's like, "Hey, you got some nice legs." And I was like, this how that came out. Um, I was asked, what did he say to me or something? And I remember not really wanting to say. And then when I told the older family member what he said to me, he was like greatly disappointed. This had been his friend for many years. And he was like, he said that to you? I was like, yeah, he always says. He was like, I thought he'd be saying stuff to you. He said, that's why I kind of peeked out and called his name or whatever. And then he acted like he was doing something else. He was like, I had wondered, did he say something to you? And I was like, yeah, he told me like I had nice legs. And he asked me more than once, like he said that to you? And I was like, yeah, he always say something to me. And it will always seem so innocent that I would kind of just be like, but it would be a weird feeling like, why is a grown man always trying to say something to me, going out his way to talk to me? So I told on him. So then at some point I'm feeling like, damn, I'm like a straight troublemaker. Like I'm always in trouble for something. I'm telling on everybody, told on the dude down the street, the grown man, 20. For some reason, I used to think he was like a teenager at some point. And then my friend told me, she probably remember,